Rochelle Walensky and the CDC are showing that Joe Biden has no regard for the Constitution or the rule of law. The NEA is suing a mom for asking questions about her daughter's kindergarten curriculum, plus a member of the U.S. women's soccer team stands while the rest of her team kneels. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. I hope you had a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with Rochelle Walensky because she and the CDC and the entire Biden administration is showing that the radical left was right. They warned. They said, watch out for a totalitarian presidency, one that will take away your freedoms, ignore the Constitution. That's what we were warned about, and they were right. Just one little correction. They had the wrong administration. It's Joe Biden, through Walensky and the CDC, who is ignoring the Constitution, who is overtly breaking the law, taking away our freedoms. And here's the story. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, announced a new 60-day eviction moratorium in counties where the transmission of COVID-19 is either substantial or high. The order, issued by CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky, includes an initial expiration date of October 3rd, but can be extended or rescinded based on changes in the spread of the virus. The CDC defines a substantial or high transmission rate as at least 50 COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people over a 7-day period. According to the agency, 80.87% of U.S. counties are currently experiencing these transmission rates. So why is this a big deal? Two main reasons. The first one is that the CDC is now making laws. They are making laws that carry with it some very stiff penalties. The new moratorium includes criminal penalties for landlords who turn out tenants in the affected counties. An eviction that does not result in a death can result in a fine of up to $100,000 and 1 year in prison, while an eviction that does result in a death would lead to a fine of up to $250,000 and 1 year in prison. The new moratorium replaces a previous freeze that expired Saturday after congressional Democrats failed to garner enough support for an extension before House members left D.C. to begin their August recess. So this new moratorium is an extension of one that expired on Saturday, which leads us to reason number 2 why this is a big deal. The previous moratorium expired because the Supreme Court basically said it couldn't go on. Back in June, a case was brought to the Supreme Court about the constitutionality of this moratorium that the CDC is doing, not Congress. Supreme Court ruled 5-4 to let it go on, but they let it go on because it was set to expire at the end of July. One of the main votes, Brett Kavanaugh, in this 5-4 vote, said he would have voted against it to stop it now if it weren't for the fact that it was expiring in a month. Had it gone on, he would have voted the other way. The Supreme Court would have ruled it unconstitutional. Again, basically saying it's against the law. So it expired, and the CDC, despite what the Supreme Court said, extended it, violating the Constitution. This is breaking the law. Here is how Joe Biden tried to explain it.
I've sought out constitutional scholars to determine what is the best possibility that would come from executive action or the CDC's judgment. What could they do that was most likely to pass muster constitutionally? The bulk of the constitutional scholarship says that it's not likely to pass constitutional muster.
See, Joe Biden knows that the CDC action is illegal, and he's pushing forward anyway. He is pushing this despite the Supreme Court's ruling, knowing it is against the law. These people are breaking the law. Here's another one. This is Gene Sperling, who's Biden's point person on the American Rescue Plan.
To date, the CDC director and her team have been unable to find legal authority even for a more targeted eviction moratorium that would focus just on counties with higher rates of COVID spread. This is a president who really understands the heartbreak of eviction. He is The reason why he is pressing and pressing, even when legal authority looks slim, is because he wants to make sure we have explored every potential authority.
The CDC has no legal authority. Sperling admits it, yet Joe Biden is going for it anyway. And Sperling says he's doing it because of the feelings. He feels this is important, so he's going to do it, even though he is breaking the law. The CDC has no power to do this. The power lies with Congress. They need to act. If not, the CDC can't do it. But just like anything else, the Democrats, the far left, play by their own rules. When it's transgender policy, if you think it, you can do it, regardless of the science. Here, if you think it or feel it, you can do it, regardless of the law. That is what they are doing. Let me know in the comments, what is the totalitarian regime, Trump or Biden? All right, next let's talk about the NEA. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Okay, so let's talk about the NEA, the National Education Association, because this teachers union, the largest teachers union, has clearly lost its way. There's an article I want to show you from the California Globe. It talked about the annual meeting of the NEA. This is from last summer. Look at the items that were at the top of the NEA's agenda. Each year during the first week of July, the NEA hosts its representative assembly at which delegates adopt hundreds of new business items, most of which have nothing to do with wages, benefits, or working conditions. For example, NEA supports sanctuary cities, abolishing ICE, the normalization of an endless number of genders, lenient discipline policies, ousting police, Black Lives Matter trainings in K through 12 schools, and many more divisive political issues. So I bring up that article as a little bit of background because the NEA is even more out of control. They are pushing things like critical race theory. Even though the radical left says it's not being taught, the NEA is endorsing it. But the last thing they want are for parents and concerned citizens to be digging around in what they are doing. Now, a Rhode Island mom is finding that out the hard way. And here's the story. The National Education Association, NEA, the nation's largest public sector teachers union with a budget of over $300 million, has sued a Rhode Island mom for asking what her daughter would be taught in kindergarten. With the help of the Goldwater Institute, Rhode Island mom Nicole Solis is fighting back. This brazen and unprecedented act of intimidation by the NEA will not stand, said John Riches, Director of National Litigation at the Goldwater Institute, who is representing Solis. Nicole Solis is entitled to know what her daughter's school is teaching in the classroom. She's entitled to ask questions, and she does not deserve to face legal action just for asking questions any concerned parent would ask. Can you believe this? So what's Solis's crime? The crime is being a concerned parent. The crime is wanting to know what these teachers are teaching her child in kindergarten. That's what her crime is. And here's more. Like many parents, Nicole was concerned about whether her daughter would be exposed to politically charged curriculum in the classroom. So in April, Nicole emailed the principal of her school in the South Kingston School District asking for the kindergarten curriculum and whether it would include teaching children politically charged materials, including those influenced by critical race theory and gender theory, holding them out to be true. She immediately faced stonewalling from the school and even a threat of legal action for asking too many questions. And now she's being sued by the NEA. And just like our lead story, this is what happens when you give the left power. They will take it and they will want more and more and more and forget about the fact that the freedom lies with us. The power lies with us. We give organizations a little bit of power. We give the government specific powers, but the left will run amok unless we fight back. All right, next I want to talk about Olympian Carly Lloyd because she did something. She made news in the weirdest way, a way that you would have never thought fathomable a decade ago. And remember, these Olympics are tanking in the ratings, some of the worst ratings we've ever seen for a Summer Olympics. And why? Because the radical left and these woke athletes keep pushing this leftist agenda, and people are sick and tired of it. Recall these comments from last show from Olympian Lolo Jones.
I mean, I don't know the percentage of people that would be tuning out because of those protests, but I will say that there has to be a percentage of people that are doing that. I had so many people coming up to me after the Gwen Berry protest and saying, I'm sorry, I cannot watch the Olympics after that. And so it's just not that. It's just, you know, I think sometimes people just want to tune in to watch sports to just watch sports, and they're not there for the political side of it.
That's right. People don't want this woke left-wing agenda in our sports. We just want to watch sports. Now, it's not all gloom and doom. It's not all bad. We have had some outstanding performances by American athletes and plenty of shows of patriotism. People standing up, people commenting, waving the flag, telling how much they love this country, have pride in the flag, have pride to be an American. That's what some are talking about. But what takes the headlines, what has turned people off, are these woke left-wing liberal athletes. And so that's why I want to bring up Carly Lloyd, because the poster child for the woke radical Olympians has been the U.S. women's soccer team. Well, before the bronze match, while the rest of the team was kneeling, Carly Lloyd was standing. U.S. women's soccer star Carly Lloyd stunned fans on Thursday as it appeared she was the only American player standing before the team's match against Australia at the Tokyo Olympics. It appeared the rest of her teammates decided to kneel as a protest against racism and discrimination before the bronze medal match against Australia. Lloyd was standing next to the referee of the match while the Australian soccer team stood in unity. You know what's just sad about this report? It starts off with soccer star Carly Lloyd stuns fans. Stuns fans by standing, by showing respect. The rest of the team were kneeling in protest. She stood, and that's now newsworthy. Imagine that a decade ago, where everyone was supposed to show pride in being an American. Protest on your own time, folks. If you're putting on the USA jersey, you need to stand together, not just with your team, but with your country. Here's Lloyd explaining what happened at a press conference.
Yeah, you know, we met as a team last night, and, you know, I'm really proud of the group. I think players have really stepped up. They're doing their part. Obviously, I've been kind of away and just in my house, tucked away in the woods and recovering my injury. So I've kind of taken myself out of the soccer environment for a little bit. It was a good mental and physical recharge for me, but obviously coming back into this team, I think the beauty of this team is that we stand behind each other no matter what. And you know, players decided to kneel, some players decided to stand, and at the end of the day, we have each other's backs, and I think ultimately we're all here to support one another in any way that we can.
Spoken like a true team player, and as someone who respects and honors the flag and the national anthem. You want to protest all you want, but do it on your own time and on your own dime. When you put on that USA jersey, when you are representing your country, you are a symbol. You are a symbol, not just an athlete. Show pride in your country, show pride in your flag and your anthem, or else stay home and go do your sports on your own time. All right, so look at what we've had in this show today. We have the CDC, Joe Biden, Walensky running amok. We've got the NEA suing parents, and we have woke Olympians. We need to ask them, do you have a relaxed brain?
I got what you call, like, I don't know, a relaxed brain.
So let's start with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because she participated in a protest on that eviction moratorium this week, and she showed that she really needs a mask when she thinks the cameras are rolling. Watch as she sits without a mask, but then throws it on when Senator Markey shows up for a photo op.
Is this your New York crew?
No, this is everybody, all right? Oh, Corey had to run to a, she had to run to a hit. She's okay, I guess, okay, scared.
Oh, no, you're fine.
This is a little one. Hi.
Housing is a human right on three. 1, 2, 3. Housing is a human right!
Wow. And then when the photo op is done, Markey's mask comes down and AOC's just disappears.
Everybody say whiskey!
Whiskey!
so lame and typical AOC. And then we have liberal Democrat Cori Bush, who is one of the most outspoken leftists on defunding the police. Check out what she has to say, where she clearly shows that she doesn't care if you're not protected, just as long as she is.
I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety nets because we're trying to save lives.
That might just win the prize for the most relaxed brain. I've got my private security. I'm all good. The rest of you, you better hope that social worker can stop the bad guy. All right, so next, some breaking headlines from the Babylon Bee. January 6th rioter found innocent after discovery he just torched a small business across the street. Yep, it's just funny how the liberal Democrats are so up in arms about rioting on January 6th, yet the billions of dollars in damage throughout the summer from BLM and Antifa, they don't seem to care about that. And then, how about some left-wing hypocrisy when they are going out all in a meltdown saying that voter ID requirements, when almost everyone has an ID, is somehow racist, but vaccine passports and mandates? That's a different story. Liberals praised de Blasio for barring 65% of black New York City residents from society. Yep, the minority community is lagging behind others in vaccination rates, but hey, let's just kick them all out of a job. That's not racist, is it? All right, folks, that's our show for today, but don't forget, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great weekend. Our next show will be Monday at the usual time, both on my channel and on Right Side Broadcasting. Until then, I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.